All right, we are joined by Erik Nieves, founder of PlusOne Robotics, whose name I can pronounce correctly.
You did fine on the first try. Good on you, mate.
Excellent. Well, hey, you know, we mentioned it's Manufacturing Happy Hour. We've been hanging out with you here at the conference. But explain what PlusOne Robotics does as if we're hanging out, grabbing a drink with one another.
You know, what does PlusOne do? You can't do meaningful work in a warehouse with robots if the robots can't see, right? That's true for mobile robots, but it's also true for picking arms, and that's where we specialize. We make the vision system that attaches to that industrial robot to give the robot the sense of perception it needs to discriminate that hot mess of stuff that's in front of it and be able to pick out what needs to go down the line next. PlusOne is a 3D vision software house.
Love it. Jake, you're up.
Yeah, so a lot of exciting announcements. You know, we're here at the AMRO conference. It feels like a bunch of family getting back together again. And there was a recent partnership that just was announced between Locus and PlusOne Robotics. First of all, congratulations. That's some exciting news. And, you know, can you talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah, no, we're so excited about this. So any workflow in a warehouse is some combination of mobility, manipulation, and storage.
Yeah.
Right? That's all you got. You got people with forklifts, you got people with stuff in their hands, and you've got racks or, you know, some kind of storage unit, right? So between Locus and PlusOne, you can imagine the types of workflows that we can support those warehouse operators with now. So if you have a chance to visit the booth, you can see our robots doing picking out of a donor tote that then feeds orders that are on a Locus bot. So the Locus bot, comes in, it's got a couple of destination totes, we load them up, Locus bot drives off, another Locus bot shows up, the robot never stops picking. So just as Locus does with put walls today, where it's, a follow me robot, imagine a Locus robot tied to a picking arm. That is the vision that PlusOne and Locus are collaborating on because the warehouse needs as much support as they can get.
Absolutely.
And so we're talking partnership under the Zebra umbrella. In addition to that, you have other partners as well, and those are your system integrator partners. And there's like no short list of this. In fact, Jake, you've got the list in front of you. Rattle off a couple of those.
These are fun that I thought of. Pearson, MCRI, Robex, Calvary Robotics, who you heard from yesterday with Joe, Mission Design, just to name a few. What's the importance of these partnerships to PlusOne?
Yeah, absolutely. So the warehouse automation space is broad and deep, and no direct sales force can possibly expect to meet all of that requirement, right? So you need some kind of scale. And there's a couple of options, right? You could just staff up and say, I'm having a big direct sales channel and we're going to go knock on a bunch of doors. But these warehouses have been around for a long time. They have established relationships with folks that have helped them previously. And we would be foolish to not take advantage of, folks that are capable systems integrators in the space. And so some of the ones that you named, right? These are really good houses that have established histories, know how to deploy robots. What they needed was that piece of technology that unlocks the application. And that's the perception piece. And that's why, we've been able to sort of build this community. And that's the way we view it. It's, you said earlier, it feels like a family reunion here, right? This is an industry where, there's a lot of good people in a lot of different, capacities and system integration and OEMs and such. We can make it work, and it's all to the benefit of the warehouse operator. So let's go.
Yeah. So we're talking about benefits to warehouse operators. I think that leads into this another idea of how do we benefit people? And there's this fantastic slogan that, first of all, I want to know how it came up with, but it's this idea of robots work, people rule. First of all, how did you come up with that? Because I absolutely love that idea. And then explain more. Why is that so important for people to understand? Because there's this whole idea that robots are taking jobs, they're doing this, they're going to destroy things. That's not the case. Let's dive in.
Okay, well, if you love robots work, people rule, and that really does encapsulate our whole vibe at PlusOne, all right? You're going to love this story even better. Paul Voss is my co-founder.
Yep.
Paul's mom came up with this.
Nice.
That's fantastic.
Okay. When you have three engineers talking about, mottos, we came up with robots work, people are better. And, it just did not roll off the tongue. And she's like, you knuckleheads, robots work, people rule. And we're like, done. Okay.
Mic drop.
And for our listeners, you do have T-shirts that say this, right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
It is our hashtag.
Just wanted to make sure everyone listening knew that those were out there.
Yeah, you can rep the merch for +One and get you a hashtag robots work, people rule shirt for sure. But it's not a tagline. It's the way we view the world, right? And I guess I've just been doing robots for so long, guys, that I have become a human exceptionalist. People are better than robots at everything that matters, right? The only thing that the robot has going for it is its endurance and its physical memory. Hardly the qualities we enjoy in each other.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? So, you want to acknowledge just people are awesome. And heck, I'm not alone in this. Right? Elon Musk had to come to that.
Yeah.
Remember when he was struggling with the line and he was like, hey, right? So when you build your solutions human-centric, right? When you acknowledge that people really are fundamentally superior, then you land at supervised autonomy and human in the loop, right? Which is the way that we approach the problem. Yeah, we've got all kinds of great AI. Our computer vision is, world class, and the robot is going to work independently for the bulk of its cycles. But every once in a while, it's going to cry uncle. It's going to say, I got nothing. Help me out. And having that human in the loop, on call, and having that be so responsive so quickly, that human element is where it's at. And that is why the company's called +One.
Oh,
because you
nice.
add one human being to this network of robots and watch just how much more uptime you get, how much more efficient the whole thing runs. Your OEE numbers look so much better. Why? Because you put a smart human into the mix.
So we're talking humans, and I was sitting in the conference yesterday. I thought this term robot wrangler, and how do we get more robot wranglers? How do we get more people in the workforce development, which is another huge thing you're passionate about, Erik? How do we get more people in this workforce development to come to manufacturing, to be the next person who's driving purpose and ruling these robots in facilities?
Yeah, so workforce development. For one, man, I'm glad I'm in the robotics space, right? Because you see younger and younger folks starting to get exposure for robotics much, much sooner in their lives, right? I mean, can you think of another technology where if you graduate with a 4-year college degree, on day one of your job, you could have had experience maybe 6, 8, 10 years worth? Because by the time you did first, then you did, high school robotics.
Yep.
And then in your engineering program in school, it was a robotics capstone. Robotics has become the teaching vehicle for engineering.
Absolutely.
Right? So, hey, at least the robot folks, we've got people in our pipeline. But when you look at the broader logistics space, you need a lot more operators. You need a lot more technicians. And that's where I really see the emphasis on workforce development having to happen. Those are your robot wranglers or robot Sherpas, as somebody calls them, or as +One calls them, crew chiefs.
Nice.
Right?
Yes, I thought you had the proper term. I like robot Sherpa. That was my favorite that came out of yesterday.
Yeah. And so crew chiefing is this notion that, hey, we're elevating your work. You are responsible. You are now in management. I mean, if you're on a ship, the chief is in charge, right? So that's how we kind of arrived at that. But, workforce development and our responsibility as automation suppliers to ensuring the upskilling of the folks that now have to, run, maintain, manage, and benefit from these robots is one we have to take seriously, or you're just a vendor.
Yeah.
Well, we covered a lot of ground in this little 11-minute slot. that we had. So as we wrap up, what's the way to connect, the best way to connect with PlusOne Robotics?
You know, we love to engage on LinkedIn. You know, we have a very vibrant community there on LinkedIn. You'll find us on Twitter at PlusOne Robotics. And of course, PlusOneRobotics.com.
Ooh, nice announcer voice. Yeah, I've been finding you on Twitter all week. That's where I've been at. So for those of you out there, check out PlusOne Robotics. Give them a follow. Oh, and Jake is pointing out one more thing I need to mention before we wrap up. PlusOne Robotics here at AMRL was the first company to collect all the little Lego minifigures of myself and Jake and our buddy Aaron Prather as well.
Somebody has to be number one. Let it be PlusOne.
Well done. Ooh, that also had a nice.
I know,
ring
right?
Too.
He's got all these lingos.
We can't top this. This is great. We're out for this part of the interview.